Hello everyone, welcome to tonight's market commentary. My name is Kay Kim with the Traders Club, 2tradersclub.com. And tonight we're going to focus on Apple and Tesla, right? We're only going to focus on, each chart are going to be focused on 65-minute chart. So what you're looking at here on Apple chart here, this is a 65-minute chart, meaning each candle represents 65 minutes worth of data on each day of trading here. So you can see that we're looking at from probably about January to May. So we got a pretty handful of data there, and we're going to analyze Apple's kind of a minor to intermediate term sentiment. We're going to do the same thing on Tesla. And in this video, I want to reveal why I think Apple's a buy here in the intermediate term, minor to intermediate term. Obviously, there are a lot of kind of a negative connotation looking at a big picture in a primary term, which we still need to kind of, give it some time and see how it plays out. But as far as a minor to intermediate term is concerned on Apple and Tesla, I do think it is a buy here. So let's talk about that. First of all, you're currently looking at this chart here with the MACD oscillator in the bottom right of your screen, and you're looking at 65-minute chart, 50 EMA, right? 50 EMA meaning 50 exponential moving average on the 65 minutes. So that's exactly what we're seeing. So if you want to kind of gauge kind of a minor to intermediate term runs, you really want to look at this moving average on your hourly chart or 65-minute chart here. And as long as and first of all, you want to see as long as the market continues to cultivate lower highs and lower lows. We've learned if you've been following me, I've been harping on this. As long as we're cultivating low, and it works all across the board. If you're looking at minor term, intermediate term, and primary term, it's a different time frame. So you want to understand different time frame sentiment. You have to understand where the lows and highs are. So if you look at this move here, January to February, right, on the Apple here, and as we start to cultivate lower highs and lower lows, and as the 65 minutes or 50 MA starts to decline, what does that mean? It means the sentiment is bearish. The trend will continue. The trend is assumed to be in effect, right, until it gives us a clear signal that it has been reversed. So as long as it continues to cultivate lower highs and lower lows, we have to assume the trend will continue. But when was it that it starts to reverse? When was it that downtrend, that the minor term downtrend shifted back up to a bullish trend? Well, this was when that 65 minutes or 50 MA, right? When it started to kind of move sideways a little bit, right? You can see it start coming down, and this is kind of a time right here. I think this vicinity here, when it starts to, the 50 MA start flattening out and they start rising higher. You could say, well, okay, we had 50 MA rise here, but then it really didn't continue higher. Well, because we made lower high and lower low after that. So what you want to see is not just focus on the 65-minute chart 50 MA. You also want to see the price action. Can the price action follow to the upside, right? So when that 50 MA started to move sideways and started to climb higher, you could see that we did cultivate higher low with the price on the price action. Remember, I always say that you need to substantiate that. We need to see confirmation on these signals. Not only that, it happened after forming, this is what we call bullish divergence. What does that mean? When the price action starts to create lower lows and lower highs, the MACD, right, this oscillator actually started creating higher lows. What does that mean? It means there are some clandestine buyers. These are the value players. These are the players that are going to gamble this thing, thinking, hoping that it is anticipating that we're going to bounce back up. Doesn't always happen, but when we start to see the bullish divergence forming, right here, and then we see a 50 MA start to, move sideways and climb higher. And what is the next step? The final step, we need to see price action substantiating all of those signals, right? The 50 MA kind of moving sideways and then climbing higher, and then the bullish divergence. But we must see the price action cultivating higher lows and higher highs. And once we start seeing that, we could say that, hey, I think the trend has shifted and we may get into minor term to intermediate term uptrend, meaning it could last for about a month and a half or so. You can see that from March to April, middle of April, we saw that bullish run there. That's exactly what we want to kind of analyze today. Are we seeing something like that happening? First of all, looking at Apple here, 65 minutes. So we actually have a very, very strong bullish divergence. This is actually stronger than what we've seen here. You see that how this angle is much, much greater, much, much steeper. And then it came down. It didn't come down hard like this. It actually came down a little bit, and then we bounced back up. I think that's why we saw this kind of abrupt buying opportunity. And also this was below the support. This is what I'm talking about, is that the market loves to do shenanigans like this. A lot of people think just because it has broken below the support does not mean it's going to continue lower, because the market will fake you out. This is what we call traps and shenanigans and head fakes and all of that, right? Or bull trap or bear traps. So this is, you want to call it, this is probably what we're seeing is a kind of a classic bear trap in the minor to intermediate term there. So, excuse me. So what the most newbies, unseasoned technical traders will do, oh my God, we just got below the support, and so now I'm going to short it, I'm going to start buying puts. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. That's why you have to understand these signals. So what we've been looking is, hey, though we gotten below this support level, we are forming this bullish divergence. This is not ready to short yet. If anything, this might be that that classic bear trap, right? That's exactly what happened. You can see that you made a lower low with the price action. However, the MACD created a higher low. You see, that's a cautionary signal when you're trying to short this, just because it gotten below that major support there. That was a major support, and we needed to hold that, and we failed that. Again, that one signal, you cannot conclude the whole move just because of that one signal. You need to see other things to confirm certain moves there. So once we had that bullish divergence, and once we got that gap up here and gotten back above, and after that we're seeing that that 50 MA is starting to kind of move sideways. We're still kind of a premature stage, in my opinion, because we have not yet cultivated higher lows and higher highs. Though we have cultivated equal highs, and that's a good sign. But I think if you want to see a full confirmation that Apple has reversed, at least in the minor to intermediate term, we need to see another higher high and then higher low, and then in this perspective, in this fashion. Once we start to see that, and then once we start to see that 50 MA started rising higher, right? Then we can conclude that we may see another minor to intermediate term bullish run, maybe another month and a half or so. Okay, something like we've seen here. Okay, and obviously, again, I'm still talking about more of a minor to intermediate term movement here. I'm not talking about a big primary term. We'll talk about the next time, but for now, this is kind of what I'm talking about. So again, looking at the 65-minute chart on Apple here, I do think that this is possibly a good level to buy. If you need more assurance, you need to see this level. We're clearing above this level, creating another higher high. The price action must be higher than this peak here. It must get up higher than that, and then create that higher high and then higher low, and we must continue to see that 50 MA rising higher. And so if this thing continues to lower, next couple of days, right, then you want to put a hold on that, and then maybe possibly you want to see this bounce, and then possibly creating some kind of a double bottom type of action. However, if we continue lower and creates a lower low, then we're probably going to continue lower with a lower low and lower high, which means the downtrend will continue. So again, we can't just because we have bullish divergence, just because we have 50 MA, kind of moving sideways or flattening out, we cannot conclude that it has been reversed. We're in that phase that we could reverse does not mean that it has reversed. Remember, I just showed you what you want to see before you want to see a full assurance. We need to see this thing clearing this resistance and then cultivating that higher low and higher high, and that 50 MA continuing, supporting the move to the upside, right? So that's kind of what you want to see next couple of days or so, maybe next week. And if you can see that, probably going to come up here and fill this gap. And then, a lot of times when the gap gets filled, it does become instant resistance. So keep that in mind. Once the gap gets filled, we're probably going to see a pullback. But when we see a pullback, if we continue to create higher lows and higher highs, then trend can continue. And then if we continue on, then we'll probably come and fill this gap, possibly getting 112, maybe even higher. And that's something that we'll have to talk about in the next, several weeks or a month or so. But let's go to Tesla here. Lastly, I like Tesla a lot. I mean, today I'm going to only look at 65-minute chart, more of a minor to intermediate term chart. But looking at a big picture, again, we're not going to discuss it today. I like Tesla a lot here. I think it's a buy here in the minor term and intermediate term and possibly even primary term. I like Tesla here more than Apple, looking at a more of a big picture. But again, looking at 65-minute chart, it's the same concept here. We do have, again, each candle represents 65 minutes here on this chart, and we have that 50 MA on this chart here, that pink dotted line, the moving average, again, exponential moving average there. And then we also have, in the bottom here, the oscillators we've been talking about. Last time back in, mid-February, do you see that we hang around here a little bit? And then we started just kind of zigzagging, just moving sideways a little bit. And then in that process, MACD started to just make this higher lows and started grinding higher again. I just explained to you what that means as far as the price action is concerned on Apple's analysis. So we have a very similar action here. And then what happened was that 50 MA started moving, coming down, and then the price action started to cultivate lower highs and lower lows. And then something shifted when the 50 MA started moving higher after the bullish divergence. And then what do? We start cultivating what? Higher highs and higher lows. You see that? So you see that, these formulas started, working together. And once we see that confirmation, you can see that, for about, it's a good month and a half. Very, very soon. Good month and a half, we saw bullish move there. Do you see that? Okay, so today, and what happened was about in early April, we started coming down, and then 50 MA started moving sideways for a while. We lost that 50 MA and it started tanking. And then at some point, we started moving kind of a sideways here. Isn't that interesting? Once we started moving sideways, then the MACD started moving higher. Remember this? We just talked about this on Apple. So once the MACD started moving up while the price action coming down, that's the first signal. And then that 50 MA is now moving sideways. Okay, it has not fully confirmed yet. If you need more assurance, we must see Tesla getting back above this level, pulling back. And nobody like to see pullbacks. It's crazy because pullbacks creates a trend. That's what you have to understand. Primary term, intermediate term, minor term. When you're looking at major primary term, and nobody wants to see correction, but without the correction, there's no trend. It goes up, it comes down. That's how the market establishes its uptrend, and you must see these up and low, lows and highs to see a strong trend. Anyway. So once we start to, cultivate or clear above this resistance around, to 15 or so to 16, and then it gets above, then create that higher high, and then pulls back to retest level, and then we bounce, and then in that process, what do? Cultivates higher lows. Once you see that, I believe Tesla will continue higher. I believe they will continue higher. So this is kind of an important level we're dealing with here. So I really recommend you guys watch this, this end and rest of this week and early next week. And look at that 50 MA, look at that bullish divergence. Again, but we need to substantiate all those signals by the price action creating higher lows and higher highs and inaugurating an uptrend in the minor term. If we can do that, I think can continue higher. The different sentiment of Tesla versus Apple. Apple has come down all the way down here, and then we start cultivating that bullish divergence and starting getting back up, which means it's a bit heavier. But Tesla, though, it didn't come all the way down. What do? We fell came down, but it fell short, and then we are finding some support in the middle of it. What does that mean? In the intermediate to primary term, this could be considered as a more of a big picture higher low, right? Higher low and higher high, meaning there is more favor to the upside looking more Tesla. I think that both is, both Apple and Tesla, I think they're both very attractive here to buy in the minor to intermediate term. But I think Tesla, once if this thing starts to work out, and then if this thing continues higher, and even if we can able to break above 260, I think there's chances it could go much higher, 300, 320, 340, which I'll talk about that maybe in the next couple weeks or a month, or if I feel that I need to do the video. But for now, I wanted to let you guys know on these segments and on these on this assessment on the Tesla and Apple, looking at the 65-minute chart and looking at some of this technical data, why I think that Apple and Tesla is a buy here. Have a great night. I'll talk to you guys next time.